You know, the last thing I thought about waking up today, and I probably didn't even think of this at all for tonight's Flyers game, was Scott Laughton scoring 4 goals. Scott Laughton. Yes, that's Scott Laughton. He would be the one scoring all 4 goals for the Flyers. I'd laugh right in your face. But apparently, made me eat a pile of shit for even saying that, because Scott Laughton indeed scores 4 goals tonight in the Flyers' 4-1 victory over the Detroit Red Wings, where I thought they pretty much dominated the entire night. They were clearly the better team, and they definitely deserved this win. I thought Alexei Kolosov deserved the shutout, but, Flyers failed to clear the zone late in the third period, and that resulted in the Red Wings making it a 2-1 game, to making you think about it a little bit. Please don't go to overtime. Please don't blow this. But Scott Laughton managed to bury the hat trick, and then managed to get a fourth one, even though he was trying to get somebody else to score in the empty netter. But they're like, no, Scott, you're doing this. This is your night. You have it. You have the fun. Let you have the recognition. Oh boy, what a world we live in when Scott Laughton is the guy scoring 4 goals. I'd expect Matvei Michkov to do that, maybe even Travis Konechny, not Scott Laughton. He was the last player I expect to do that. But before we get into the rest of this Flyers recap, everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to TTP Sports. And if you are new to the channel, have been tuning in for a little bit, but haven't decided to hit that subscribe button, I think you should decide on hitting that subscribe button. It would do me a great deal of service. We just recently surpassed the 1,000 subscriber mark, and now the next goal is to just continue building on this channel and moving up in that subscriber count, and I would greatly appreciate if you would join here in the TTP Sports family. You can also drop a like. You can also leave a comment in the comment section down below. That would do me a great deal of service. I would love to interact with everybody there that talks in the comment section. It's usually a good time there. Also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. You can also follow me on TikTok and at Instagram for shorts and reels and stuff like that from pods. So, Flyers win 4-1 over the Detroit Red Wings. Like I said, they were pretty much the better team throughout majority of this contest. Flyers, they possessed the puck a ton in the Detroit offensive zone. Detroit, they had some chances during this game, but Alexei Kolosov was there to make the save. Some of their chances were dangerous, and he was able to make the saves when he needed to. But this game could have easily been a blowout early on if it wasn't for Cam Talbot in net for Detroit, where he is robbing people left and right in the second period, robbing Matvei Michkov on a one-timer on a beautiful pass from Yegor Zamula. And, Emil Andre was healthy scratched for today's game. Torts said that he's been, slumping the past few, maybe just give him a day off of his feet. Personally, I kind of think it's just giving him an extra day of rest from the heavy hit that he took against Columbus the other night, and he has been getting knocked around pretty much heavily, so probably the smart idea to get him off his feet, get him an extra rest day in there. So really not looking too deep into that. So he's out, Zamula's in, had a nice almost assist to Michkov, but, Cam Talbot was just robbing people. He robbed Sean Couturier on a breakaway. There were a few breakaways for the Flyers and odd-man rushes in that second period. And finally, they scored on one of those breaks where it was Scott Laughton where, okay, everybody literally tried everything possible. I'm just going to wind up and clap it by you. And that's basically what happened. And the Flyers take a 1-0 lead. And they were so... Oh, my God. This was during a lot of the possession that the Flyers had in Detroit's end. Matvei Michkov, and that line was flying all over the place tonight. Him, Morgan Frosto, and Tippett. And Matvei Michkov was so close. And I mean, literally minuscule. If it wasn't for Cam Talbot basically anticipating the play and making the save, Michkov was this close to hitting the Michigan. This close. Cam Talbot recognized it immediately, brought the blocker up, and it was basically picture perfect on the design play by Michkov on the Michigan. Basically, he had everybody beat. No one was there near him to even prevent him from doing the Michigan. Basically, it was just good anticipation by Cam Talbot to get the blocker up in the right spot. Because if Cam Talbot doesn't anticipate that and he doesn't get his blocker up in enough time, Mitchkoff's scoring there. And I would not have been able to describe my reaction if he did hit the Michigan. Because the Wells Fargo Center's roof probably would have blown off. From me specifically, I would be the one personally blowing the roof off. But imagine, the rest of the Wells Fargo Center, that reaction, just besides mine. Because everyone was just like, how the fuck did that not go in? How? It's a good save. It's a good reaction by Talbot. But damn. I wanted Mitchkoff to finish that because that would have been so electric. Sadly, his point streak does end. Does not record a point on any of the goals tonight by Scott Laughton. So, sadly, that ends. But he'll eventually start another point streak. He'll go off. It's Matvei Mitchkoff. He'll do anything possible at this point. But besides that, it was really just a game dominated by the Flyers. This was one of, basically, I would say, overall, one of their better games of the season. If you even go back to, same thing with the Columbus game, I think these 2 games in a row here have been their best overall product, their best overall 60 minutes. And if they just keep consistently doing that, they could definitely find themselves in a playoff spot because it does feel like they're getting better week after week. So that's definitely an important thing right there. And there's also some things with the goaltending as well. John Tortorella deciding that Alexei Kolosov is going to be the backup for Sam Ersson, pending if Sam Ersson does get hurt or not. But that sounds like that's what's going to be the case, and Ivan Fedotov is going to be the third-string goaltender, even though I still don't agree with keeping 3 goaltenders up. Right now, that's what it seems like they're going to be doing right now, even though it's mainly going to be Sam Ersson and Alexei Kolosov's net. So, and Kolosov played well, and I think basically between him and Fedotov, I think Kolosov has been the better of the 2 goaltenders, and he definitely has been getting better every single start now since being called up here in, during those times when Ersson did get, had to miss some time with injury. So, he's been doing good. Made some good saves today, especially when Detroit made it a 2-1 game. He had a nice save on a one-timer where he got his glove right there just in the nick of time. So, he was huge. He's had some games where he's definitely stole it too. I believe when you played in St. Louis, Kolosov was the main reason why you even won that game. So I think he deserved the shutout tonight, but sadly, there was just, a little bit of situations in that third period where the Flyers were, I guess, kind of being too, I wouldn't say too cute, but I think just too lackadaisical, too just, well, we'll just get the puck out of there. Just not enough effort. In, situations where you have to get the puck out of your own end. And Detroit, they were taking risks, especially since they were down 2-0 in the game that late in the third period. They were going to be taking even more risks. And I just don't like the lazy clear attempts where you're just like lazily backhanded it, trying to get some air under it, where there's a player over at the blue line that just knocks it down and keeps it in the zone for Detroit. And those were one of those situations where the face-off, you can't clear the puck out of the zone. Detroit hangs on to it. Shot from the point that deflects off of one of the Flyers' sticks. Goes by Kolosov. It's sudden a 2-1 game. And you're thinking to yourself, just please don't fucking blow this game because you don't deserve to go to overtime. This game should nowhere be close to overtime. But you did manage to pull it out in the end, and that's the most important thing. Thanks to Scott Laughton. And one of those was a nice shorthanded goal as well in the beginning of the third period when you did take a penalty because it was I think it was a penalty where they baited Matvei Mitchkoff to take a roughing penalty right on the ensuing draw of the third period. I think it was Alex DeBrincat that, was getting into it with Mitchkoff, and I guess Mitchkoff took a swing, and refs decided to call a roughing there. Mitchkoff does like to get scrappy, but I do think eventually he's going to have to find a way to control his emotions a little bit there because some players that are, long time in this league, they're going to find ways to bait young players into those type of situations, and I think DeBrincat did that perfectly. So that's just coming with time. That's going to come with learning. That's going to come with, playing in the league for a little bit. Mitchkoff's only played in the league for like so many games at this point, so it's a learning process. It's a learning curve. So Mitchkoff will learn. He'll find a way to get better in that specific, area of controlling his emotions. But that's just his motor. That's just his drive. He's so passionate out there. Dude just loves the game, and he hates losing more than anything, so hey, Let the emotions got the best of the kid. It's basically it. Just turned 20 years old. Not even old enough to drink yet. Emotions got the best of him. Sometimes they get the best of us. And that's what happened in that situation. But hey, nice 2-on-1 break for Laughton and TK. Nice pass from TK to Laughton with the finish. Second goal of the night. Didn't get a couple of empty netters. I don't know. Are some people going to devalue that he has a 4-goal game because 2 of the goals were empty netters? I feel like some people will, just because, oh, really, you score 2 goals at a goaltender, 2 of those were an empty net. 4-goal game is a 4-goal game. It's really, you don't see that every day of the goddamn week. You don't see that much every year in the NHL, so good for Laughton, because it's definitely been a little bit since he scored a goal, and he definitely broke that slump tenfold tonight with 4 of those. So, hey. The funny thing too on Flyers social is that as soon as Laughton has that night, it's immediately trade values up, trade Scott Laughton. Yeah, because you should have traded him a couple of years ago when you were getting those first round pick offers. Hey, 4-goal game, value going up. Or you could go into, see, glad they never traded Scott Laughton because of nights like tonight. 4-goal game. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, but basically, if you just look at the entire game to show how much it was dominated by the Flyers, shots in the first period were 12-7. The first period was just basically uneventful. It was the most boring period of my entire life. The Flyers did find some ways to generate some pressure at the end of the first period, but really nothing there. It was the most boring period I've ever seen in my life. This game was insanely quick, too. So, not many whistles, not many commercial breaks. It was just basically smooth sailing throughout the entire thing. Second period, shots were 17-7 in favor of the Flyers. And in the third period, especially when Detroit tries to bring the pressure on to tie the game, it's 12-7 shots in favor of Detroit. But overall, the shots were 36-26 in favor of the Flyers. Flyers dominated in the faceoff circle. Both teams go 0-for-1 on the power play. You know, both teams basically even on the physical side. Detroit's not a good team. That's what I basically summarized from this game. Detroit is not a good team. They just looked bad, personally. I have no idea why. This team has been rebuilding for so long. Steve Yzerman, the Yzer plan, and everything like that. They got so much young talent on this team. They got Patrick Kane, even though, he's in the back end of his career, but it's still Patrick Kane. They got Dylan Larkin in his prime. They just can't seem to figure it out. They can't seem to get over the hump. They almost did last season if it wasn't for, the Flyers kind of spoiling everything with the Capitals clinching this playoff spot on the empty net goal in regulation for the Capitals to win that game. But, yeah, they just can't seem to figure it out. And I think they're below 500, if I'm not mistaken, coming into this game. Yeah, they're 11-14-4. I just don't understand what's wrong with them. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe that's also for the fact that they've been rebuilding for so long and they never had a top pick in the draft. I don't even remember when was the last time Detroit even drafted, like, top 3. I don't think they have, in my personal opinion, even the 1 year where they were one of the worst teams in NHL history. I think they fell to the 4th pick or the 3rd pick, if I'm not mistaken. So this is also a team that's building without a top number 1 or top number 2, number 3 type of draft pick. So even though they've been drafting pretty much in the top, 10 of the draft for a lot of this, they just can't seem to find a way to get over the hump. I don't know what it is with Detroit. I don't know. I feel like they should be a better team. They should be a team that's built for, the future, but they just can't seem to get over it, man. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to me at all, but even though more focused on the Flyers, looking at their record now, after this game, they're 14-12-4, 32 points on the year. And looking at the wild card standings, the Flyers do have the first wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. They hold it by a point over the Rangers and the Islanders, 2 points ahead of the Lightning and the Penguins, and, just the rest of the Eastern Conference, which is pretty much a bloodbath for these final few spots here. In the Metro Division, the Capitals are in first place at 26-2 with 42 points. Devils, they're 19-10-3. The Hurricanes, they're 18-9-1. The Maple Leafs, they're 18-9-2. Same thing with the Florida Panthers. And the Boston Bruins, they're 15-12-3. It's pretty much of a top-heavy conference. Not going to lie. Because Montreal's bad, Buffalo's bad, Detroit's bad, Columbus is bad. Ottawa's mediocre, Pittsburgh's mediocre, Tampa Bay's still solid. But the Islanders, they're fucking mediocre as hell. They just go to so many fucking overtimes, even though the Flyers do go to so many overtimes. But the Islanders lose so many overtimes. They got 7 overtime losses already at this point. Um, Definitely, it doesn't feel like. I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's that one dominant team in the NHL this year overall. You thought Winnipeg with the way they started off, but they died off as of late. They're 4-6 in their last 10. It's really, if you look at the top 5 in the NHL, Washington's in first with Minnesota. But like the 3 teams have 42 points: Washington, Minnesota, and Winnipeg. Then you got the Devils. Then you got the Knights, Maple Leafs, and all that stuff. It's a weird year in the NHL. Like I said, I don't feel like there's that one true dynamite team night in and night out. Maybe it is the Caps. Maybe it is the Wild. Maybe it is the Devils or something like that. I don't know. Just a weird year, in my honest opinion. But if we look at the upcoming schedule for the rest of the games for the Flyers this month. So after tonight, they play in Minnesota on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Then they got 3 days off after that. They play again against this Detroit team next Wednesday, the 18th at 7 o'clock on the road. Then they play on the 19th at home against the Los Angeles Kings at a road home back-to-back there. Then they're home on the 21st against Columbus on the road, and this is basically when they start their gigantic road trip during Christmas. The 23rd in Pittsburgh, then they got the Christmas break, then they got the Western California trip, including Vegas, and then Toronto when the new year starts. So we'll see how this carries them. We'll see how they continue this. You know, 2 games in a row here after, losing a couple coming off of those 4 days off against, Florida and Boston and Utah. So we'll see where this carries them. So in their last 4 games, they got 5 points in. They got 5 of a possible 8 points there. So just continue to find ways to get those points. Most important thing at the end of the day. That's all you can ask for. So we'll see. We'll see where everything carries them now. So good game tonight from the boys. Good for Scott Laughton getting those 4 bingos. Always nice to see. Never really expected it, but that's, I guess, it's something you could cross off the list that you see in person. Never thought I would see a 4-goal game. Now I do. Now I did. So thanks, guys, for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Does me a great deal of service. And also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase at SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Appreciate you boys for joining in tonight. I'll see you next time.